Let me start once again. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's exclusive edTalk, Unveil the Power of Google Gemini, powered by EdForce. We are thrilled to have you all here as we embark on this journey of discovery into the world of Google's latest AI innovation. In this ever evolving landscape of artificial intelligence, staying ahead of the curve is essential. Today, we are gathered to delve into one of the most groundbreaking advancements in AI, Google Gemini. This successor to Google Bard promises a revolutionary leap forward in multimodal understanding capabilities, offering unparalleled opportunities for innovation and growth. But before we dwell into intricacies of Google Gemini, let's take a moment in running a poll. This will help our speaker to understand the audience. I am launching a poll. I hope you all will participate in it. This poll is to understand the work profile from which each one of us comes from. Yeah, I can see a lot of replies already, just a few left. I request you all to kindly fill the poll. Yeah, we have the results. I hope it helps our speaker. While talking about the speaker, let's take a moment to recognize his expertise and passion that our speaker brings to today's session. Mike isn't just an AI enthusiast, he's a seasoned veteran in field with years of hands-on experience, a profound understanding of nuances of artificial intelligence. As an AI innovator and Gemini guru, Mike has earned a reputation for his ability to demystify complex concepts, making them accessible to audiences of all backgrounds. His insights into the practical applications of AI have empowered countless individuals and organizations to harness the transformative power of technology. Beyond his technical power, Mike is also a storyteller at heart, weaving narratives that illuminate the potential of AI to drive innovation and change. His dynamic presentation style and engaging demeanor captivates audience, fostering, excuse me, fostering an environment of learning and collaboration. Whether you are seasoned, whether you are a seasoned tech enthusiast or just beginning your journey into the world of AI, Mike's expertise and guidance will undoubtedly leave you a lasting impression, inspiring you to unlock a new possibility with Google Gemini. So, without further ado, let's welcome Mike to the virtual stage and embark on this enlightening journey together. I will request you all to please give a round of applause by emojis. Welcome, Mike.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a nice introduction. Thank you. I hope I can live up to that. So lovely to be here.
Handing it over to you, Mike.
Great. So let me just see. So I'm going to start my screen share, which will obviously stop yours. Is that okay?
Yes, sure.
Great. Let me just. Okay, all the slides have about loaded. Okay, so welcome to Unveil the Power of Google Gemini. I'll just give you a brief outline, but first of all, welcome, and I appreciate you taking your time to spend with me this, well, it's morning here, I know it's afternoon where you are, so I appreciate you spending the time here, investment in time. So a quick outline is I'm going to do an introduction to myself, a quick, really quick overview history of AI, a tour of Gemini, because I think there's a lot of features in there that get overlooked. So I'm talking about the actual screen itself. There's lots of little hidden goodies in there. And then we'll look at some practical use cases and Q&A. Now, as we're going through, please feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat, and I'll either pick them up at certain points or we'll come back to them at the Q&A session at the end. So I'm really excited to get started. So a little bit about me. So what makes me qualified to talk about Google Gemini? Well, essentially, I mean, I've been in tech for years. I've worked as an IT consultant, as in freelance, for over 20 years. And I've been in IT itself for over 30 years now. And when I come to AI, I mean, I guess I took to it pretty much as it came out. ChatGPT, for instance, came out as one of the first ones in November 2022. I think I started looking at it in January 23, so just over a year ago. And then we'll find out where Google Bard and Gemini fits into that loop. I've trained over 1,000 people to use AI effectively, and I've always got great feedback from people that I've trained. So without further ado, let's jump in to our presentation today. So the dawn of AI, the beginnings, that was around about the 1950s to 1970s. So that began with pioneers like Alan Turing. So it was posing the question, could machines think? And I think back then we can clearly say no, but again, that's a great question to ask at the time. And then they had early AI research in the 1960s and 1970s. And that focused on problem solving and what we call theoretical underpinnings, which means foundational principles of AI. So moving on a little bit, we come to the 1980s and 2000s. And we call this session the AI Winter and Revival, because the AI field at that point experienced its ups and downs, the downs known as AI winters. And that was mainly due to it as being overhyped about what it could do. The expectations were really high. And I don't know, the data processing power just wasn't there, and the data behind it either. So it's overhyped expectations, and so it led to a subsequent loss of funding. However, in the late 1990s and 2000s, it saw a revival with the rise of the internet, and increased computational power was available finally, and more data availability. And then now modern AI, deep learning, from the 2010s to the present day, the introduction of deep learning and neural networks, that led to significant advancements in AI. And AI applications became widespread. And when I say AI applications, I'm talking about singular focused applications, like for health applications, not the talk about the general chat ones we're talking about these days. So it's been able to help transform some industries, including healthcare. I mean, I read about an article in the news in the UK recently where they were using AI to examine breast cancer X-rays, and I think 10 women's X-rays were flagged as they had cancer, which hadn't been picked up by the radiographers because it was so tiny, these little tumors, that they hadn't been noticed. And so because AI flagged those up, those women were able to be treated early, leading to a much better outcome for them. So it can be really powerful. So let's get on to the main subject in hand. What we're here for today is Google Gemini. So the beginnings. So initially, Google was really cautious and didn't want to release their AI models to the general public. They had a model called Lambda, which stood for Language Model for Dialogue Applications. And that was developed and it was announced in 2021. And like I say, they were very cautious about releasing that to anyone. There's more in-house research. But then suddenly, a little upstart by OpenAI called ChatGPT came on the scene in November 2022 that really took off. I think it got 100 million users in about a month or a few months. But even people at OpenAI were really surprised at how popular it became in such a short space of time. And it's reported that this caught Google executives off guard and it launched them into a panic. And the result of which Google Bard was launched in February 2023. And that was their answer to ChatGPT. So the underlying large language model, LLM, behind Bard, that was upgraded in December 2023 to the Gemini large language model. And in February 2024, the name Bard was dropped altogether and it was all rebranded as Gemini, which brings us to where we are today. Now, what I'm going to talk about now is probably applicable to most AIs, as in we're talking about, as in large language models like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Gemini, of course, and Claude by Anthropic. So what Gemini isn't. So it's not a search engine. Although with Google, it might integrate search into the actual response. It's not just going to give you a list of links to click and go through and try and trawl through the information and see if it's relevant or not. It's not also merely regurgitating information. It's creating information from what it knows on the fly. So basically, it's putting a whole answer out rather than, like I say, links. It's literally from your prompt. It's creating an answer in real time that's not a canned response. And all these AIs right now, they're not sentient, but although at times they can feel quite convincing. So what exactly is Gemini? So it's a language model, and it's designed to generate natural language responses to prompts. Prompts being the questions that we ask it. Basically, it's in the form of like a chat back and forth, that's why it's nice to have that natural language response. By using a massive database of language patterns and associations, it predicts what the most likely response would be to your prompt. So it's almost like predictive text on your phone, but on steroids. Gemini can be prompted and respond in many different languages natively, which is very powerful. And Gemini also has guardrails built in. What I mean by that is that it's got some ethics and kind of morals that built into it, if you like. So it will stop you creating anything that may be offensive to other people. Things may still leak through in that instance, but they've done a pretty good job. I think most of the AIs now of basically clamping down on all that. So at the moment, you're still with me. Is this all making sense? It'd be great if you put a Y or an N in the comments and let me know in the chat, just so I can gauge where we're at. Yeah, getting thumbs up. That's even better. It's easy to see for me. Awesome. Just seeing Ys at the moment and thumbs up, so that's good. So I think we're on the right track then. Okay, so let's have a look at the Gemini basics. So it works in your web browser. So it's just like an application, your web browser, like email, etc. When you're signed in, you're defaulted to a new chat, and we'll be viewing all these things in real time in a minute. If you're on the paid version of Gemini, because there's two versions, there's free version and a paid version, you get to select the version of Gemini you want to use, either the free or paid version. And you'll be able to access previous chats that you've had with Gemini in the menu bar. Now, prompts. These are what we use to give instructions to Gemini. They can be very simple to very complex, so much so that there's a new job now called a prompt engineer. So that shows you how complex some of the prompts can get. With prompts, it's generally better to be prescriptive, so tell rather than ask. So in that case, it's more like, instead of saying, could you create this for me, it'd be more, create this for me. This tends to ensure you get a better experience and quality of responses. With Gemini, it's nice that you get 3 draft responses to each of your prompts, and then you can select the best one. And again, we'll be looking at that soon. But just like all the other chat AIs, Gemini can get things wrong. So never blindly trust its answers. If it's something important, always check via other sources, especially if it's factual information. Now, if you're going to move on to a new subject with Gemini, then start a totally new chat rather than continuing within this current same chat. It helps avoid confusion, allows Gemini to maintain the context of the conversation. So think of it like chatting with a new person each time. So if I was talking to Dave over here about one thing, and then the next day I start talking to Fred, well, he's going to have no idea what I was talking to Dave about. And that's like Gemini within the different chats. It has no idea what the content of the different chats is. It only knows what you're talking about within the current chat. So it can't access information in other chats. A little quick hack to enter a new line in the prompt. Sometimes people press enter and it sends a prompt off, and that's not what they're meant to do. They're just meant to do a new line, so to neaten it out for themselves. If you press shift and then enter, then it will create a new line, and we'll visit that in a moment. So some important things. Don't ever share any sensitive information in your prompts. So this includes both personal and sensitive commercial information, because basically the AI may get trained on that data, which may mean it kind of leaks out at certain points. Content ownership. Okay, well, I searched long and hard for this in Gemini, and I couldn't really find any definitive answers. Basically, the ownership of content created by Google Gemini and the rights you have to use it are a bit of a grey area. And that's at present up to date. But they have this thing called copyright indemnity for unintentional infringement. So Google has stated that they will defend users sued for copyright infringement on content generated by Gemini, but only if you infringe copyright unintentionally. So this means if you use Gemini to create something accidentally similar to a copyrighted work, Google might have your back. So that's might. So I don't know with that. So I think if you're doing, I think if you're literally creating things fresh and you're putting in a quite detailed prompt, it's going to probably be free from copyright anyway. But it's good to always just check. I think there's other things you can check if the work's been copyrighted or not. So both the free and paid versions of Gemini have access to real-time information from the internet, and that kind of separates it a bit from its competitors. Because, for instance, ChatGPT only in the paid version does it have real-time access to the internet, not in the free version. So hopefully that all makes sense. So let's take a quick tour of Gemini, but before we do, I just want to basically share this comparison here between ChatGPT and Gemini. So I'm hoping this is all. Can you give me a thumbs up if this is easily visible? You can read the writing, or if it's a. Yeah, let me just. That's okay. Cool. That's good. I just want to make sure it's very visible. I will make it a little bigger just in case. Okay, so this is a Gemini Ultra, which is used in the paid version of Gemini, and GPT-4, which is the paid version of ChatGPT. So let me just say here, where does Gemini have the edge? Well, in general academic subjects, it tends to have a slight edge over ChatGPT-4. Its reasoning is very similar to GPT-4, apart from, interestingly, ChatGPT or GPT-4 has a better common sense reasoning for everyday tasks. And I kind of felt that when I've interacted with Gemini and ChatGPT, that ChatGPT just seems to understand a bit more the context of things, which is a nice touch. Gemini's slightly better at maths, as we can see here at the scores, and also appears to outperform GPT-4 at Python code, especially code generation here. That's by quite a wide margin. It also, because it's multimodal, it can generate images. Well, it kind of can. I think in the US you can. I'm not sure about other countries, but I know here in the UK, image generation isn't available. And I know even in the US, it was suspended for a time because of inaccurate historical representations it was creating. So image generation, again, they've rated it better than ChatGPT. But I've heard that GPT-4, they have an image engine called DALL-E that tends to produce images closer to what you actually asked for, apparently. So if you're comparing those. Video processing, Gemini appears to excel at processing video compared to GPT-4 by, again, quite a wide margin. And it also appears better in assessing language, as in audio. So despite all those statistics, in real-world usage scenarios, the evidence points to Gemini not always endearing itself to users as much as ChatGPT. And that's probably because of what we talked about, that common sense interaction. And so it really depends on your particular use case at the time to which may be better. So this isn't even mentioning, like, say, other AIs like Claude from Anthropic. So it'd be good at this point to, I'm just going to make this tiny bit smaller so I can, it'll let me, the screen, so I can see it properly. But what I'm going to do now is take us through the features of Gemini, the screen as such, so we can see what's available. So on the top right of the screen, we've got the usual Google account. It's nothing special. Just manage your Google account with your various sign-ins, etc. And on the top left of the screen, now if you've got the paid version, you'll have a selector here where you can choose the normal Gemini or Gemini Advanced, which is the paid version. And we're going to look at the top left menu here. So this is a hamburger menu, we call this usually. That just expands the menu in and out. So it gives you more screen space. So we'll just expand that out right now. And we have a new chat button. So by default, every time you come into Gemini, you'll be defaulted into a new chat, which basically is this, an empty chat window here. But if you're in a chat, like this one, for instance, then the new chat button is enabled and you can click it and it will default you into a new chat. And then we have the recent chat history down the side here. So these are the chats you've had with Gemini at different times. The nice thing is you can go into any of these chats and basically when you start talking again, it knows exactly what you're talking about within this same chat. So you could be months later and it will still understand what you're talking about in the context of the previous conversation you've had with it, which is really amazing, I think. So then we have some ellipses by each of our chats. So that gives us the ability, so let's go to this one, for instance. That gives us the ability to pin it, which means it goes to the top. So we'll say, yes, we want to pin that one. So that means we can always find that chat easily if it's an important chat that we want to revisit. We also have the ability to rename the chats. So I'll just call this one Mike's chat. So we can rename that. And there we go. So it might be a more meaningful name we give it. And we also have the ability then to delete the chat as well, which will ask us to confirm. So going further down, we have the help section. Privacy hub, that just literally tells you about the privacy policies, etc., relating to Gemini. Beyond that, we have the updates. So this tells you the latest updates to Gemini, which is good to, if you haven't visited it for a little while, it's good to see. It'll tell you the latest things that are happening and that you'll be able to use. It may give you some good ideas to use in the future. Help is what it says. It literally just gives you a little help bar here where you can search for help topics or click on them to get help about any particular thing. Really useful little feature. Frequently asked questions, just a list of questions and answers about Gemini. And about Gemini Advanced. So again, this tells you, I don't know about in India and other states, but I know in the UK we get 2 months at no charge to use the paid for version before they start charging. And this gives you a little comparison of the differences here. So the free version uses the 1 Pro model, the Ultra version uses the 1 Ultra model, which is their most capable version. And again, you get state-of-the-art performance designed for highly complex tasks and allows you to use Gemini in Gmail and Docs, which we'll look at. And that gives you a lot more information about it below. So activity, another useful place. So this is where basically all your activity is logged in what you've used for Gemini. So this will tell you about all your chats, history here, when it was, etc. You can delete these one by one if you want to. And it's deleting now. There, it's gone. You could actually turn off the activity. You could say, I don't want you to actually track my activity anymore. So you could turn it off by just pressing that button. Or you could turn off and delete the activity. So that means you turn off the tracking your activity and delete everything in there. I'm not bothered about that right now, so that's fine. There's also an auto delete option. So you could decide that any activity older than 3 months, 18 months, or 36 months, whatever you select, automatically gets deleted. And regardless of your choices, it says here, you can always manually delete at any time. So let's just close that. Now we'll come back to settings shortly. But first, let's just start a new chat. Well, we're already in a new chat, so that's fine. So you notice at the top here, we get some suggestions. These are like pre-canned prompts that Google Gemini has prepared, if you like, to help us get started if we're not sure where to go or what to do. So these are present on both the paid and the free version. So if you look at the free version, they're not quite as pretty, but they do the same type of thing. So we'll just go back to the advanced one. So if we try one, we'll see it then drops the prompt into our text window here. We can change the values to suit ourselves. So we could change that I want to host 10 people for a local dramatic society party. Exactly, you can just change it to whatever suits you. So all these highlighted variables here are things you can change that's to suit your own use case. But one thing is, if you think, okay, well, I just want a bit more space here to see this, you can use this little icon here, and that changes it to full screen, gives you a lot more space to actually write out your prompt. And again, just by clicking it again, we go back to the normal sizing. That will only appear when the prompt gets quite large. It won't be available if it's a bit small. We have the submit button here, which basically sends our prompt off to Gemini. And then it comes back with a response. We also get a microphone button. So, can you tell me the sum of 2 plus 2? And I just send that. So what that's doing is basically it's not sending it to Gemini. It's just basically converting your speech to text and putting it in the prompt window. But it's useful if you don't have a chance to type things out, or you don't want to type things out. You can literally just put the answer in this way, and it's nicely broken down the answer for us. You can also have the chance to upload images, and this gives you ability to then analyze images. And the other thing is we can also edit our original prompt. So if our answer wasn't quite what we expected, we can go in and think, oh no, I didn't want 2 plus 2. I might want to, can you tell me, oh, I don't think it quite worked out what I said there. I meant the sum of 2 plus 2. So got their sum of, but it still understood and actually did the answer correctly. So that's quite good. It understood the context of the conversation. Can you tell me what? I'll just put 2 times 2 in this case. Two times 2 is. So we can update our prompt and it'll give us a new answer. So multiply numbers, divide by answer is 4. Well, got us the right number anyway. 2 times 2 is 4. So we, if we go back to our original one, here our original prompt, at the bottom of each response, before that, there's also a speaker icon here, sorry, on the responses, and we can get it to actually read out the response to us. Now, I don't know if I've actually got the audio switched on for here. If I haven't, I apologize, but essentially it reads out the response to you, which again could be very useful. You get at the bottom of each response, you get a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You can tell Gemini if it's a good response or not. You also get the chance to modify the response. So let's go for a different, let's start a new chat to do this. Create me I'm just going to say a long story about a boy and his cat. Bit random, but it gives me a chance to be able to highlight some of the features. Oh, it is a long story. Still going. But isn't it great, from just literally a line of text, it can generate all this story for you? And I imagine it's quite a good story as well, but we're not going to read through all that. So if we click on here, modify response, so we can say, I want it shorter, longer, I want it simpler, or more casual, or more professional. Again, that's really good, really. So if I say shorter, it goes off and gives me a shorter version of that. So let's see how short that is compared to the other one. The other one was very long, I thought. So hopefully this is, yeah, that's much shorter. The other thing you'll see is show drafts. So for each prompt we get, Google will give us 3 versions of the response. So we just click this show drafts icon here, which is for some reason taking its time. There we go. So each story will be a little bit different, or it might be formatted a little bit different. And then this, and you can regenerate them as well by just clicking the icon to the right. And then it will regenerate the whole story for you because you weren't happy with the actual output. So again, this is going for the original prompt now, so it's going about the long story. I know it's just taking notice of the short one. That's good. So we'll look at show drafts again. And let's see if we can pick up any differences, which may be subtle at times. In fact, I'm not seeing a lot of difference here. I don't know if anyone else is. Let's have a look. So let's try something totally different, because it should be quite different responses. Create me a report on the state of AI in industry 20. No, this is just random. Hopefully this works. Just doing this off the top of my head. But just what I want to do is look at the drafts and just show you that it should be slightly different each time. So it's still generating the response there, giving us a conclusion. That's good. So if we go to the drafts and see what is generated for us. And then we'll go back to the icons at the bottom. Okay, now I can see it's different. Okay, so I can see here's a report analyzing, and this one starts absolutely, here's a comprehensive report. So we can see it's formatted differently. The wording's different. And even between those two, it's different again. So that's what the drafts are for. So you can pick the best version that suits your needs. So again, a very useful feature in Gemini. So if we go back to the bottom, so that's where we looked at shorter, longer response, etc. So we've covered that. So let's have a look at the share icon. Now, this is quite important because this allows you to be able to share a link. So if we create a public link, basically that gives a link to our whole chat. Or if you've just got, in this case, we've just done one prompt and we've got one response. If it's a bigger conversation with multiple prompts and multiple responses, you'll get prompted for if you want to create a link for the entire chat or just for that literal prompt and link. So in this case, I've got a link it's generated for me here. So if I copy that, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the share. Well, first of all, I'm just going to create a new window. I'm going to stop the share and share that window just to show you how this looks. So this is the link that Gemini's just created for me. Paste that in. And it's asking me to agree to Google's terms, etc. So now I may not have a Google account. And by the way, you do need a Google account to use Gemini. I may not have a Google account, but I've just been sent this link by someone who does and who's been, but I can view it. I can see when it's published. I can see the title. I can see the original prompt. And I can also see the actual response from Gemini. Now, if I've been sent this link, if I sign in and I've got access to Gemini, it will then put this prompt into my own version of Gemini, and then I can continue the conversation. So one thing to note here is once these links are out in the wild, as in you've sent them to somebody, you really have no control of who they're shared with. So that's something to note. So again, don't put anything personally sensitive or commercially sensitive out there, because that could be not a good idea. So let me just stop sharing that screen and we'll go back to our original screen. Okay, so we've done the share icon. The other great thing with this is it gives you can create a draft email in Gmail. And if this is taking into account you do have a Gmail account or a Google Drive account, but straight away it defaults me into a draft email, and it's put everything in there for me, so I don't have to do a copy and paste job or anything. That is a real time saver. Really great. And I think the other thing with this is be able to create a document from this as well. So if I do export to documents, again, this is in Google Drive, you need access to that. I can now open that document, and there it is with all the formatting, beautifully done. And I could either continue writing this, or I can change it within here to suit my own needs. So again, I think that's a very powerful thing, a great shortcut method to working with information from Google Gemini. So to me, that really excites me. I think that's really impressive. The Google icon. Okay, well, that just is like a double check the response. So let's try that. What it does is goes off and checks its own response. Let's see, with this one, it should be able to do that. And what it will do is it will come back and highlight areas, as you can see here. So I asked it for a report. So it's basically, if you click on these arrows to expand them, it will then tell you the source for that information. And then you could go and click on that to view that source, to just make sure it's as it should be. So again, really powerful tool, I think. And this is, I guess this is one of the real advantages over things like ChatGPT. It's great at sourcing information in this way and double checking it. I think this is, again, a really powerful feature. And then basically we can just copy, that gives us a chance to copy the response or report a legal issue, which might be that we've basically been seen some copyrighted information or something like that, which we want to report. Okay, so let's go into the settings, which I said we'd go into later on. So manage subscription just does what it says. It manages your Google subscription. Real-time responses. Okay, let me just show you what this is. So if I start a new chat, and this is just something that's a personal preference. So create me a poem about India. So if I do that, if you look now, as it's generating, it's putting out the information as it comes up. Okay, so the information was kind of coming up in real time. Now, if we change this setting here to not real time, then I can just say, change the prompt a little bit, India in the spring. Now, if we update this, now you'll see it just puts out all the information in one go rather than doing it gradually. So that's something that's a personal preference you can set there. I prefer it coming out in real time. Another thing is dark theme or light theme. At the moment, it's a dark background. You can just click that off and you've got a light background. Again, personal preference. It depends on what you prefer. Your public links. Now, remember we created a link to our report earlier that we could share with other people. Well, this is where you have the chance to manage them. So there could be a whole list here that you've shared with other people to collaborate on information that you want to share. This is where you can delete those or copy them, whatever you want to do. If there's a load of links and you want to remove them all, you just click this button. So again, it's just a way to manage any of your activity. But beware, if anyone's already accessed that link, then chances are they might have copied that information, so it's already out there. So only do that sparingly with people you trust, and just like I say, be careful with the information you put into those. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do now, is in a moment, I'm going to look at, let me just go to the slides again. Go to slide 15. Oops. Okay, so what we're going to look at now is Gemini extensions. But before we do get started on that, let me hand you back to our host, because I believe they want to give you a short message.
Hi, I'm here. I just wanted to inform that do stick around with us till the end, because we do have amazing giveaway. And not just for a few of us, for almost all of us. So do stick with us till the end to get a lucky Amazon gift card or a gift voucher. So that's all, Mike. If you're around, I think Mike's taken.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Okay, great. So let's get back to it. So I just want to check back in with everybody that everything's making sense. So that thumbs up would be amazing if you could give me that, and then I just know that awesome. Because now we're going to get into the juicy stuff, the bit that's a bit more fun, and the bit that people tend to enjoy a lot more. But it's good to go over all the other information just so you've got a holistic picture of everything. So let me, yeah, so I'm on the slides at the moment. That's great. So Gemini extensions. So extensions are a great way of integrating Google Gemini with other Google tools. This is, again, something unique to Gemini, which ChatGPT doesn't have. However, I'd say as a comparison again with ChatGPT, that has its own little universe of third-party people that pretty much give you an extension-like experience, whereas Google is more concentrating on using its own tools. So I'd say at the moment, when I played around with this, the functionality is a little bit limited, but I think it will improve over time, and I think it'll be really valuable. None of the requests using extensions will be used as training data for Gemini, because it's basically sensitive and personal in nature. So it won't be used, they promised, in training the model. All the extensions can be switched on or off using a toggle. So there's a toggle on each one of these. And to use an extension, well, I'll show you in a moment how we do that. So let's have a quick demo of these. So again, we're getting to the juicy stuff now. Just waiting for my mouse to catch up with me and behave. There we go. So let me just share my Gemini screen. Fantastic. Let's do right. Great. So let's have a look. So I've if we look at the extensions in here, so just open them up. So as you can see, as I said a moment ago, you can toggle any of them on or off. So it's up to you. I think by default they're toggled on, but it's up to you which you do. So I haven't found a good use to use Google Flights as yet. When I've tried it for local airports and things, it always comes back saying it doesn't have access to real-time flight information. So I think maybe that's one to watch for the future, but I don't think it's quite there yet. So let's try one that I think is pretty good. So I'm going to ask Google Hotels extension. So let me just, oh, my mouse is all over the place. It really doesn't want to play ball with me today. Have to give it a pay rise. So in this case, I'm just saying, find me a hotel room in central Delhi for one night on May the 17th. Now, the way I operate with the extensions, I put the app sign, and then it will give me a list of extensions. So in this case, it'll be Google Hotels. So just choose that at the end, and then I send this off to Gemini to process. So you can see it's operating here. It's checking Google Hotels. and straight away we're getting some information back. And so it gives us a list of hotels, a little bit of information, pricing per night. But the nice thing I really like is that it gives us some images. And like I say, it gives us the name, the price per night, a nice image, and a little summary of each one as we go down. And so I really like that feature. And if we click on any particular one, it will take us to a more detailed view of that through Google Hotels. So if I was to go for one a little bit nearer to home for me, I'm going to start a new chat for this one. So I'm going to say, find me a hotel in central Birmingham, UK, for May the 17th, for one night. And I've put the @ sign followed by Google Hotels. So this will be very similar. So you see it's working there, the Google Hotels thing. So we've got a list of hotels here, as well as the images and the response back. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to integrate with one of the other extensions as well. So in this case, I'm going to say, get me directions for how to get to the Conference Aston. So that's this hotel from my location. And I'm saying use Google Maps using the @ sign. So again, if I just get rid of Google Maps for a minute there, and I put the @ sign in, you see it pops up, and then I can just choose which one I want. In that case, Google Maps. Okay, now I see this has made a slight error here, actually, which is interesting. It's taken me to, there must be a Conference Aston Hotel in Sheffield, and I want the one in Birmingham. So that's not quite what I want. So, so in that case, I want to change things a little bit. So what I'll say is the Aston Hotel. Oh, it's the conference, isn't it? Conference Aston Hotel in Birmingham. And let's see if it knows what I'm talking about here, if it creates another map or not. Okay, so it realizes there's a bit more clarification needed, but in that case, it hasn't done it. So what I'd have to do is take my original prompt, put that back in, and I just have to be more specific in here and put Birmingham. And in this case, it should give me the correct response. So again, good to note that you may have to tweak things as you go along. So in this case, I can see, yes, that's taking me from my place in Nottingham to Birmingham, which is the correct response. So let's start a new chat. Again, if we're changing subject or context, we start a new chat every time. So here's another feature we can use with the extensions. So I've got a document in my Google Drive, and I want it to summarize the document. I've told it the title of the document, and then I've put at Google Docs. So I'm using that extension, Google Docs extension. So it should be able to go into my Drive now, find that document, and give me a nice little summary of that document for me. Let's have a look. Okay, which it's done. And it tells me the 10 companies on the list gives me all the companies there. Now, if I go to look at the actual document itself, you'll see it's like, look at it, it's 12 pages long, so a very long document. So that has been able to summarize that in seconds for me and give me the 10 stocks I was after. And of course, I could have a bit of a conversation about that document, continue that information. So again, I think that's really powerful. And I could say, again, start a new chat here. I might want to look into my Gmail. Now I find the Gmail, funny enough, I found the actual Gmail extension doesn't work that well. I then tend to find that the Google Drive one tends to work better for this. So summarize my last 5 emails from LinkedIn. So again, it should be able to go to my Gmail account now, find any emails I've had from LinkedIn, and then be able to go away and summarize those and give me that information back. So it tells you here what's it doing. It's assessing the emails. So it's giving you information what it's doing at any particular point. So there you go. Here's a summary of my last 5 emails from LinkedIn. So again, really powerful. And I think, I'm not sure, can I click it? I've not tried this actually. Maybe I can click on that, it'll take me to the email. It does, brilliant. So another great feature, time-saving feature. Okay, last but not least, let's have a look at another great part of the extension, because YouTube is part of the Google universe. So I think, again, that's a very big source of information. So I'm going to say, list the 5 most popular YouTube videos on traveling around India in order of popularity, the most popular first. And then I've used the extension YouTube. So let's do that. And as you can see, it's now accessing YouTube to get the information. And it's listing the 5 most popular. Again, like the hotels one, it gives us a nice little thumbnail and a summary of each one. So that's absolutely great. But what I might want to do is get a bit more information. So I'm going to say summarize the most popular one for me, indicating all the sites visited. So I'm just carrying on the conversation. I don't have to put YouTube again. It just knows what I'm talking about because we're in the same conversation, the same context. So let's just have a look at what it comes back with here. So now it's come back with the one that's most popular. It's given me a list of all the places and tells me a bit of a summary about each place, which I think is really helpful to me, because this can tell me whether I want to watch the video or not. I mean, how powerful is that? And then it does give me the video at the bottom. And apologies again if you can't hear it, but I can actually go, unfortunately, we get ads, but you can actually play it within the window itself, or you can go full screen by clicking that. I won't do that because it will blow my screen apart if I do that. I'll lose where I am. But yeah, I think there's some really powerful features. And to me, that's really, really exciting. So I'd just like to know, again, thumbs up. Did that all make sense? Is that interesting? Is that good? Because we're going to get into the real juicy stuff now. I'm just going to have a quick look at, oh, fantastic. I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat window for a moment and see if there's anything in there. Oh, Kathleen, I see you said about the Gemini extensions. Are they only available in the free version? Oh, sorry, in the advanced version, the paid version, or also in the free version? As far as I know, only in the advanced version, but because I've got the advanced version, I can't go back to just the free version now. But by way of demonstration, if I just go to normal Gemini here, okay, and then I go to get me a map from my location to Sheffield, so another place in the UK. Let's just try that, and I'll try at Seems to let me at the moment. I don't know if that's because I've got the paid version or not. So it may be, yeah, it may be available in both versions by the looks of that. Like I say, because I've got the paid version, I can't go back to just a free version to see just that at the moment. So I believe it's available in both by the looks of this. Because I'm in the free version now, and if I just put the @ symbol in, I'm getting access to all those. So yeah, that should be available in both versions. So okay, it's time to play now. So let's have a look at some use cases. So we looked at the extensions. How about if we want to use it for like a business? Say we're going to respond to emails, for instance. So I could put into here, I've received the following email from a customer. Could you write a reply being polite and understanding, but letting them know that we don't offer refunds? So here is their email. So, dear Acme Limited, I recently ordered your Knuckle Duster 3000, and to my surprise, it wasn't a duster at all, but a metal contraption you put on your fingers. This is of no use to me, and I think your advertising is misleading. Please, can you send me a refund? Yours, I'm a complainer. So now we can get, we've basically given Gemini a few clues here. So we said it's an email from a customer. Could you write a reply being polite and understanding, but letting them know we don't offer refunds? And then obviously we provide the email. So let's see what response Gemini comes up with. And I think from the very short prompt we've given it, it's given us an amazing amount of information here. So, dear, I'm a complainer. Thank you for contacting Acme Limited. We appreciate you reaching out about your recent purchase. We understand you're surprised upon receiving the product. While the Knuckle Duster 3000 might not resemble a traditional duster in appearance, it functions as a self-defense tool designed to be worn on the fingers. Our product descriptions aim to be clear and informative. However, we can appreciate how the term knuckle duster might lead to some initial confusion. We'll take your feedback into consideration. Unfortunately, we're not able to offer refunds on non-defective merchandise, and our return policy for exchanges within 30 days of purchase provide the item is unopened in its original packaging. You can find more information about our return policy on our website, and it gives you a place to put a link. Is there anything else we can help you with? Thank you for your understanding. And I think that's a real, from the information we gave it, that's a really amazing response and a great reply. We didn't even give it information about our returns policy, so it's kind of created that. But 30 days, within 30 days of purchase. But it's done all the things we asked. It's been polite, it's been understanding, and it's letting them know we don't offer refunds. And the nice thing about this now is we could just shove that in our draft emails. We could tweak it a little bit, as in a link to a return policy there, and then it's ready to send off. So that could save a lot of time, I think. So let's have a look at some other use cases. So we can use it for research as well. So we can say, provide me with a list of 5 of the best modern business books for an entrepreneur and give me a summary of each. So again, off it goes, and it's given you, just as we asked, it's given me the title, the author, the date of publication, and a nice summary about the book. And it's even given me a nice picture as well, which is really useful. And it's given me a link to Amazon, if I click on that, where I can actually buy that. So again, really useful information. I think this is a real massive time saver. You get a good feel of what the book could be about by doing that. And with the thing is, we can probably dive a little deeper into a book as well. I'm just going to copy that title. I can say, can you No, you should not say can you, because again, that's not prescriptive, which we should be. Give me an exercise from the book which I could use to help me design a product. And let's see what it comes back with. So straight away, it gives me an exercise from that book. Identify your target user and their problem, and it gives me step-by-step how to do that. I think that's amazing, because right now that means I can get more information about the book. I can tell if it's something I want to invest in and spend my time on. That gives me a real flavor for what's available within the book. So to me, that's really powerful. And the reason like this isn't copyright or anything, because we are specifying the specific book, is it's giving me that information, and also again it gives me the way to buy that book and everything. So you know, it's talking about a certain book. So again, to me, that's a really powerful prompt we can use for research purposes. We could do things like list the main business models and frameworks available, and again with summary for each of them, as well as the benefits. So again, we get some great information, some nice summaries and overviews, and I get some nice images to go with it, and with links as well. So in this case, let's go to medium.com. And again, it gives us a link to that article. Again, really powerful for research purposes. And we've asked about the subscription. Oh no, we've asked about main business models and frameworks available. So let's delve deeper into the subscription model. Let's ask a little bit more about that. So it's given me a little bit of, oh, my screen's just gone blank for a minute. There we go, it's back in. It's given me a little bit of information about the subscription model, but not a lot. So like I say, using the subscription model, what are some effective exercises I can do to help me get clear on how I could implement this within my business? So again, these are really practical things that we can do. So here it's giving us information about designing our value proposition, identifying our ideal subscription customer, design subscription tiers, business costs. It's given us a whole lot of information. And again, we can ask more questions about this same subject and go deeper and deeper, again, which is very valuable. One thing I think is a really powerful thing, which I'm going to show you now, is how what with Gemini's knowledge, and I'm talking about public knowledge here, of in the public domain of well-known figures, we can create our very own mentors to help us with virtually anything. So let's have a look at that. Now, I looked up this guy, so I hope he's known in India. It said he's a very popular guy, a very popular entrepreneur that's well known. Mukesh Ambani. I hope I pronounced that right as well. But what I'm asking sorry, I use ChatGPT a lot as well. What I'm asking Gemini to do here is act as Mukesh Ambani, the entrepreneur. So I'm asking it to take on a role or a persona of a person and all the related knowledge that Gemini has about them. So I'm saying act as Mukesh Ambani, the entrepreneur, and with all your experience ready to share, I'm telling it to not break characters, and I want it to stay in character when responding to me. So I'm running a software agency, and this could be anything at all. You could say any type of business, publishing business, a manufacturing type business. So change it to however you want. I'm running a software agency which offers bespoke software solutions to clients. Right now, I'm trying to attract more clients into my business. What would you suggest would be a good plan of action, Mukesh? And please ask me for any other supplementary information you may need. So let's send that off to Gemini and see what it says. Now you'll have to judge for me whether the response sounds original like it could be, Mukesh, or not. But excellent, a bespoke software agency, that's a great space to be in today's digital age. Every enterprise needs a custom-built suite, not an off-the-rack solution. Now, to attract the right kind of clientele, we need a multi-pronged attack, just like Reliance itself. Here's what I would recommend. So become the thought leader in bespoke software. Content is king, and gives us a bit more information about industry conferences. Don't be a silent player. Speak at industry conferences and panels. Showcase your expertise. Target the right clientele. Focus may be fierce. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Identify a niche segment. Case studies are currency. Build strategic alliances. Now, from what I'm reading, these aren't typical Gemini responses. So I'm hoping it's more in the form of how Mukesh would speak. Build strategic alliances, partnerships make perfect. But there's more to the story. To provide even more specific advice, I'd need some additional intel. Who are you currently targeting? What industries or company sizes? What kind of bespoke software solutions do you specialize in? Do you have any existing partnerships or client success stories? With this extra ammunition, we can create a plan that will have you your bespoke software agency ringing up new clients like a symphony. So basically, it's asking me follow-on questions, which I can then answer to get a more detailed plan evolving. So I'm just going to say a little bit here. In this case, our current niche is in developing software solutions in education. And then we'll see the follow-on response. And it's like I say, it's an evolving conversation that you can have. Education, that's a fantastic niche. I don't know, it's calling me Mukesh for some reason, but that's not what it should be doing. But anyway, there's a massive demand for innovation in that sector, and it gives me a content strategy for education. Target the right educational institutions. It's given me some great advice here. Additionally, here are some specific questions to get a clearer picture. So again, these are questions it's asking me to give it back, to respond back to again give a more detailed answer back to me, which again I think is really powerful. So again, is this all making sense? Is it can you see the power of this? Because to me, I mean, this is pretty powerful stuff. So Hitesh said hopefully these extensions are free for users. They appear to be, Hitesh. I think. And also you've asked about, can the YouTube longest video be summarized easy, or it has some kind of capping? I think that video we're looking at is probably an hour long, and I don't think it really has any capping for the size of the video. So I think, yeah, as far as I'm aware, the video size shouldn't matter. So that should be okay. But again, with all these things, it's to experiment and for you to try out yourselves and find out what works and what doesn't for your particular use case. Now I'm going to ask about, I'm going to use another character. I know he's very popular in the West, like the USA, UK, and well known in kind of Europe and things. I don't know if he's in India, but I'm gonna use this guy anyway. He's called Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, like a life and business coach. So again, I'm asking it to act as Anthony Robbins, the life and business coach. Telling it not to break character again. This time saying I run a recruitment agency that specializes in the healthcare sector. Right now, I have so many things to do that would move my business forward, but I end up procrastinating instead and hardly achieving anything at all. Can you help me get my passion back, Tony? and please ask me for any supplementary information you may need. So let's send that off to Gemini. All right, this does sound a bit like Tony Robbins to me. All right. Angie Robbins here, and listen up. You've got a fire in your belly for a reason, and I'm here to help you fan those flames into an inferno. So it tells me about, re-summarizes what I've just said. But hold on, before we strategize, we've got to get some intel. Is this a recent slump, or has this fire been flickering for a while? Tell me everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What excites you most about the healthcare sector? Is it the impact you have on people's lives? Building dream teams for hospitals, or something else entirely? Spill it. The more I know, the better I can help you unleash the powerhouse within. So again, it's really taken on the persona of a personality here. And you don't have to do this. You could ask these same questions to Gemini without telling it to act as anyone. But it's just, to me, it's a nice way of almost getting mentorship by a well-known person. So I love that side of it. So a couple more things. Let me just demo something now. If you're on social media and sometimes you struggle for content ideas, you may want to do a prompt, something like this. So create a social media content calendar. So I'm saying here for an AI consultancy, but where I put the brackets, you could change that to be anything you want. That could be an accountancy organization or a call center organization, literally anything. I want the calendar for every day in May 2024 in a tabular format. So output in a table, please, including the date, the post idea, and the caption. I want the post ideas to be based on, again, you put what you want in here, on helping entrepreneurs to see the benefits of using AI in their business. So let's send that off and see what Gemini comes back with. Sometimes I'm seeing that it's not giving me all the days in May when I do this. So let's see if that is the case or not. So we've got, oh no, this time it's been good. It's given me all the days. That's great. So as you can see, we've got back what we asked for, a date. Oh, wow, it's even given me a platform. I didn't ask for that. So that's even really cool, even better. Give me the post idea, can't even speak. Myth Buster Monday, AI will replace all my employees. The caption, not true. AI can automate tasks, freeing your employees for higher level thinking. AI in action, chatbots for customer service. Show a short clip of a chatbot interacting with a customer. I think these are just great ideas. And you may think some of them are not what you want to use, then don't use them, but use the ones that speak to you. And again, don't forget, like in all the other ones, we get drafts, which will be different ideas that we can use. So, and if you don't like any of them, you can just click the regenerate button, which again is a powerful thing, and regenerate them all over again. Now, if you've got a Google account and Drive account, it says here export to sheets. So let's do that. So it's creating a spreadsheet here. And wow, straight away, we've got this whole thing. Oops, what am I doing now? We've got this whole thing in a spreadsheet just by a click of a button. Now that is time saving and very useful. So you could print that out now and use that as a, or keep it in the spreadsheet and use that to use your social media strategy. Now that is a very simple content prompt, but I think that's really, really good. So I could also manipulate the table, so we don't have to have it exactly as it came out, because we might want to change things a little bit. So in some of these, I think, are there any hashtags? Yeah, there's some like in here, hashtags here. So I might say, can you put hashtags in their own column and an appropriate emoji? So what I'm asking it to do now is basically change the table. So it's actually adding a new column. So let's, in this case, we're going to have to obviously scroll across a little bit to see it all. But I'm not really happy with that response. So let's try a different one. Try one of the other drafts. What I might do is I might say, remove the platform column. So again, like I say, we can just have a conversation about what's here. So now it's removed the platform column. And we, as I say, we're actually manipulating the table. And we see the hashtags are in their own column now. Although it's got an emoji column, it doesn't seem to have populated it. But again, I could say also add an emoji for each day. So again, what we're doing here is, again, manipulating the content of what's coming out. And hopefully it's done that for us. No, it hasn't. But I'm not going to dwell on this for too long because I've got to get through some other things. But again, it's trial and error with these things. So I just probably, in this case, I think it's getting a little confused. So what I do is I just start the chat again. I'd start from the basic prompt I started with. So the very first prompt. And then I'd say in there about I want an emoji column, blah, blah, blah. And I do that way. Another practical way we could use Gemini is I have a meeting with an important client to run from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. regarding their dissatisfaction with one of our scheduled deliveries not going out on time. This is causing the client logistical problems and embarrassment with their own customers, as well as monetary loss. Can you suggest a schedule for our meeting and an outline of how to handle their complaint and dissatisfaction in a sensitive way, which will most likely result in them remaining a client? So let's send that off and see what we get. So lovely. It's given us a nice little schedule here from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. like we asked. Briefly thank the client, introductions, for taking the time to meet, introduce yourself and any other team members. 9:15 to 9:30, acknowledge and apologize for the issue. Briefly explain why you understand they're upset. Sincerely apologize for the inconvenience and any financial loss they incurred. Understand the impact. Explain the cause and corrective actions that you'll take. Propose solutions and recompense. Discussions and next steps. And then building trust and future business. And it says here, lunch and continued discussion optional. That's really good. I mean, again, that's given me some great ideas if I'm in this situation of maybe how I can approach this, as well as the timings. It can give, like I say, it can give me some great ideas. And again, we can have a look at the drafts and see how they come out. I could also edit this. Can you suggest a schedule for our meeting outline? How they put the schedule in a table. Again, it might just be easier to read that way. So we can just, so again, we can change it to suit how we like. And again, it's given us a lot of other information here. Handling the complaint sensitively, empathy is key, active listening, transparency and ownership, etc. So again, really, really powerful things. I believe, I know we've got a lot of software engineers on here today, or people in IT. I've used both ChatGPT and Gemini for like debugging code. I use C# generally purposes. and it's really good. It can spot things that I can't quite often, and it's really good for that type of thing. But we could ask it to do things like create me a simple Python script to generate random passwords. The amazing thing is it's great at creating code. Oh, that's really weird. Did you see how it gave us an answer, and then it decided it couldn't give us an answer? That was very strange. But it should be able to do this, no problem. Okay, so it's decided it can't for some reason. Create me a simple Python script. Well, it's just, I'll just add a full stop on, just so I can update it. Let's see what happens this time. That is really strange how it's doing that. I think that's a little glitch, because obviously I've been through this presentation before and it worked fine. So let me alter that. Generate. We'll just try the wording, see if it makes any difference. Generate an example of a simple Python script. Okay, for some reason that doesn't seem very good. And when we look in here, and it talked about the code and Python code generation. Well, it's not showing us that right now, is it? But rest assured, it usually can do these things. I don't know if it's a little something going on right now, a little something that's not meant to be happening. I'm just going to look if I've got anything back in the history here.
Mike, can you try the advanced version? Because I think we are on the basic Gemini version. Maybe that's why.
Thank you. I didn't even notice that. I think that is why. But it's funny how it does it. It does put it out quickly, but I think you're absolutely right. There you go. So in this case, it stays a lot. I know, even on the advanced version. Yeah. So yes, I don't know why that is right. I'd say that's a little bug they've got at the moment. But if I show you things I've done before, where I've been talking about looking at code, where it gives me examples, in this case it's C#. It's very good at generating code, very good at debugging code as well. So I find it very useful in that way. But like I say, there's a little quirk it's got going on at the moment where it's not happy to do that. Let's start. Yeah, let's just try a totally new chat. Try it one more time, and then we'll just accept that it doesn't want to play today if it doesn't do it. But again, as you can see, it does generate it, but I think it's getting its knickers in a twist for some reason. But anyway, that's pretty much the end of my presentation. All I'll say is we only just scratched the surface of what Gemini can do. And thank you so much for your time so far. I appreciate it. So I'm happy to go to Q&A now if there are any questions. So I'll look at the chat first to see what's in here. Jitesh, what is the benefit of putting up a persona? Well, you could just say you could say please act as a top business coach. It just gives it a frame of reference to answer your question or your prompting. But I think I like the personal personas where it actually takes on the characteristics of a person, but that's just my personal preference. So that's totally up to you. But you could also act as a top software engineer, which is going to answer your prompt in a different way than if you just give it a problem and it throws it back at you. Does Gemini answer all the prompts? What happens if the prompt answers could potentially be danger to society, or if the prompt is to escape or create? Yeah, fine. I'll show you just a very simple example here. So this is going to be tell me an adult joke. So basically a rude joke. And you can see how locked down these things are right now. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you an adult joke, and here's why. Protection of minors, respect. I can offer you a non-offensive joke instead. So if it does that with jokes, you can believe me, I'm not going to put about breaking out of prison because I don't want to be tagged anywhere about these things. But you can rest assured that they've looked at these things, and as soon, I noticed when I first started using, because ChatGPT was out first, you could ask it lots of things and it would respond to lots of different things which we might think aren't suitable for it to respond to. Whereas now, even in ChatGPT, it's all locked down. There's a lot of rules enforced in there. So I'd say generally, it's really locked down. So there's not much danger of things being a danger to society that can produce. Pick the unfunds for, oh yeah, thank you for that. Does Gemini generate images now? Earlier it used to generate human-like images. Can we still do it now, or would we have to use a specific prompt? I can try, but in the UK, which I'm in, obviously, at the moment, I don't think it does. Create me an image. Let's just say of an apple. But I'm pretty sure it will tell me I can't. So yeah, that's the UK version. Now, I'm not sure if I go to a VPN, if that will log me off here or not. But I know if I go to a VPN software and I go to class where I am, my location is the United States, it will let me generate images in that case. I won't do that now just in case it logs me off here. And again, I don't know about other countries. I just know the US does allow images, the UK not yet. Does Gemini generate charts as like tables? So do you mean things like generate me a pie chart representing the uptake of AI in industry? Let's see what it can do. That it can't generate Python right now. Scripts is I'm not quite confident about what it's going to come back with. So yes, there you go. So there you go, charts, and we've seen it generate tables, so that's fine. Does it generate an executable files like exe scripts or jar, etc., based on a use case? It can generate them, as we saw the Python scripts or the exe scripts. Let's have a look. Well, it's not going to work for me, is it? Because if it won't do it with the Python. Are there any plugins integrating Gemini with Microsoft Office apps, BizWord, PowerPoint, etc.? I think there are plugins available, but again, they're third party, so whether you've got to have trust in those that they're okay. I've not used them personally because I tend to use the Google Docs and Gmail, etc. So the way it works for me is it's nicely integrated. Can it generate images if we use an extension? No, it's not to do with an extension. It's to do with how they've locked it down. So it's like I say, I can try using the VPN. So Hitesh is asking about more about the movies. We can try that. I'll have a look at that in a moment. Let me just try using my So connect to this. Right, you give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me. Yep, brilliant. Okay, great. So you can see I've set my location to the US. So now, if I say create an image, so it wouldn't generate any images for me before. Hopefully it will now. I have tried this before. Yeah, there we go. Sure, here's an image of an apple, which it's just generating at the moment. So that's a way to potentially get around it. I don't know if they'll lock that down if you basically say you're in the US. And again, you can ask it to generate more. People, I'm not sure if it's doing that at the moment because generate an image of people having fun. People having fun on a sunny day. So there may be a restriction on generating images of people. I'm not sure at the moment because of problems they've had. I'll have a look.
I think due to some technical difficulties, Mike, please bear with us. Mike will be joining us shortly.
Right, sorry about that, folks. I thought that might happen with the when I went on the VPN. So let's go back. So yeah, it wouldn't do that. It wouldn't do that. Create images of people for me. So yes, I couldn't do that. So where are we? Hitesh. Can Gemini give me a specific timestamp for the move if I prompt it? I don't know. You'd have to try that out yourself. Not found these features in ChatGPT. No, I think the thing is, depend if that movie was on, if it's on YouTube, because we're talking about YouTube movies here, aren't we? One more question. Can Gemini solve the Excel sheet if I upload to Gemini and ask it to do something specific? It can certainly help you with functions and things like that. It'll be able to help you with that. And you will be able to, in fact, I don't think it gives you a way to upload things apart from images. It's given a Gemini give chart output like a table. Yes, we've done all that. Yeah, brilliant. So just look at the chat again. How do you compare Gemini with other LLMs like Copilot? I think it's, again, it depends what you're using it for. I think if you're using Gemini for things like integrating with other Google products like Gmail, Google Docs, spreadsheets, etc., brilliant. It's brilliant for that. If you're using it for creating things that need references, as in where you got the information from, again, I think it's really powerful for that, because as you can see, when we asked it to double check references, it came back with links and drop downs where we could double check the information. So again, very powerful. Can you read data from charts or Excel? What you can do, I wouldn't say from Excel necessarily, because we usually only upload images rather than files. But we could, let me just, hold on, start a new chat. So we could upload an image. And let me see. It won't describe images of people. I found that out. So let's take this car. So this is an image of a car, or the backside of a car. Can you describe what's in the image? So it can analyze images and give you information about them. And that's probably even the case with things like receipts and things like that. So it's telling you, shows me a red car parked on the side of the road, and gives you various other information about it. Again, whether it's correct or not, I think most of it's correct. But you're asking it to interpret a photo or an image there. Whereas if you give it some more detailed information, let's see if I've got any images which got a bit more detailed information in. Here we go. Let's see if it will do this one. Can you describe this image? And like I say, it doesn't like describing human-like things. There you go. So I can't process images that contain people. So that's probably because my photo's on there. But I can extract the text for you. So there you go. So it can extract text from images as well. So if you've got a chart, for instance, that could be really useful, or an infographic and things like that. But anything to do with people, it won't touch. It won't try and describe that. Again, ChatGPT, or the last time I used it, would do that, but that's the paid for version. So any other questions? I think I've looked at the Q&A and done all those, I think. Don't know if there's any others in the chat.
I think you absolutely covered everything, Mike.
Cool.
I would take the opportunity to share my screen.
Yeah, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your active participation today. Your dedication to learning and growth is truly commendable. A special thank you to Mike for his valuable insights to Google Gemini. Mike, your expertise has made this session both informative and engaging. Let's continue to explore innovation with Google Gemini. The possibilities just seem endless to me. Until next time, stay curious and keep pushing the boundaries. But before I go ahead, I have something for all of you. I'll tell you how. Mike, thanks a lot. It was wonderful having you and learning a lot about Google Gemini. A round of applause for Mike from everyone, please. I request it. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Now, for all my participants who have been waiting and sticking along, here comes your chance to win a 1000 rupees Amazon voucher. All you got to do is write a review for EdForce on Google. So when you go on Google, type just EdForce, nothing else. Our SERP will be there. On the right hand side, you'll see GMB, that is Google My Business, that is for EdForce. Just give us a rating, however you want, or on a scale till 5. Mike has been so great. Ed Force does beautiful Ed Talks. So we would be waiting for you to give us ratings, writing a feedback, 2, 3 lines. And that's the step 1. Step 2 is follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. After which, share a screenshot with me. My email address is ashutosh@edforce.co. I am Ashutosh Sabu. I work for Edforce. And if you have already availed it once from your Google Gmail ID, sorry, it wouldn't be available, and it's only applicable in India. So Amazon voucher in INR will be given. So that's only applicable in India. Thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye, Mike.
Yeah, thanks. So can I get a copy of the feedback? That'd just be useful.
Certainly, I would.
Awesome. Yeah.
So do write
Okay.
up feedback, do share feedbacks. Mike is also waiting for that. Thank you.
And yeah, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.